Staring down the IGCSE Economics syllabus often feels like an impossible trial. Terms, graphs, and complex theories move at you all at once. But you can cut through that noise. Every complex market, every massive global industry, ultimately comes down to one thing: the workers. This brings us to a central economic riddle. How does a massive economy produce millions of complex goods cheaply and quickly, but still manage to survive when entire industries inevitably collapse? The answer lies in balancing two powerful opposing forces. On one side, you have the extreme efficiency of the division of labor. On the other, the vital flexibility of labor mobility. Understanding how these two forces interact builds a resilient economy. For the student, this balance provides the framework for a top-tier answer. Let's break them down. First, we need to understand specialization. This occurs when a worker becomes an absolute expert in a single specific profession. Think of a master landscape architect, a highly trained software engineer, or even a Jedi Knight. They focus entirely on one deep skill set. The division of labor takes that concept and applies it to the factory floor. Instead of one person making a whole product, the production process itself is split into many tiny, distinct tasks performed by different workers. This engraving shows exactly how the economist Adam Smith observed this taking place in an 18th century pin factory. Smith noted that making a single pin required about 18 distinct operations: drawing the wire, cutting it, pointing it, attaching the head. By assigning each worker to just one specific step, daily output per worker skyrocketed to thousands of pins a day, compared to the few dozen they could make working entirely alone. By the 1920s, this concept scaled up to heavy industry. Henry Ford introduced the conveyor belt to automobile manufacturing, breaking the assembly of a car down into highly repetitive, single-worker stations. For firms, the economic benefits are massive. Workers performing the same task over and over get incredibly fast at it. They don't waste time switching tools between steps. As a result, overall productivity spikes, and the cost to produce each individual unit drops significantly. But this extreme efficiency creates a severe vulnerability. If you spend 20 years learning exactly one specific task and demand for that product disappears, your skills are suddenly obsolete. You are trapped in structural unemployment. When structural unemployment hits, a highly specialized workforce needs a safety net to survive. That safety net is labor mobility. Mobility comes in two forms. The first is occupational mobility. This measures a worker's ability to completely switch from one profession to another, like a moisture farmer retraining to pilot commercial starships. Changing careers requires serious time, money, and access to education. A coal miner cannot become a software developer overnight without extensive retraining programs and financial support. The second form is called geographical mobility. This measures a worker's willingness and ability to pack up and physically relocate to a new town, city, or country where jobs are actually available. In the real world, relocating is difficult. Workers face information gaps, deep family ties keeping them rooted, and sky-high housing costs. Here, government intervention plays a role. Subsidies in new cities and grants for retraining programs can effectively dissolve these barriers. When a workforce can pivot toward expanding sectors, human capital isn't wasted in declining industries. This constant movement keeps the national economy aligned with global demand, fueling the long-term growth required to stay internationally competitive. Now, let's take these theories and turn them into points on your exam. When you face a question about labor markets, treat it as a step-by-step trial. Step 1. Define. Your very first sentence needs to be explicit. State clearly whether the scenario in front of you deals with occupational mobility or geographical mobility. Show the examiner you know the difference immediately. Step 2. Identify. Look closely at the provided case study and extract the specific barrier keeping workers stuck. Point out exactly if it's a lack of affordable housing, missing skills, or family ties causing the friction. Step 3. Explain. To secure maximum marks, you must link that barrier to the broader economy. Explain how a lack of mobility leads directly to persistent structural or frictional unemployment, dragging down the nation's overall output. When multinational corporations relocate their factories across the globe to cut costs, thousands of domestic jobs disappear overnight. Being able to correctly identify the mobility barriers preventing those displaced workers from finding new roles is exactly what examiners are looking for. A rigid economy with highly specialized but immobile workers cracks under the pressure of global competition. An adaptable economy, one that constantly invests in retraining and relocation, fluidly shifts its labor to wherever demand goes next. True economic strength comes from balance. We use the division of labor to build greatness, but we rely on labor mobility to survive the future. Keep this balance in mind, and you'll master the exam. Subscribe below for more economic strategy, and I'll see you in the next lesson.